Pivoting. What to do when your players don't play along. We'll be talking about that tonight on the Streaming DM. Hey everyone, I'm Judd, the DM for the role players. And on tonight's tip, I wanted to talk about pivoting. So you've done all this work. You've created this story. You've got your lore. You've gotten them through challenging encounters. You have them going through dark tunnels under the massive city that you built. All so that they can get the final quest details from the most epic NPC you've ever created. And they kill them. Or they don't want to talk to them. Or they teleport to another city. Or they become pirates. Or whatever. They didn't do the thing you needed them to do, so that you give them all the information for the quest so the story moves forward. So what do you do, DMs? What do you do? Well, I'll tell you. You're a DM. You're a professional pivoter. A pivoter? Yes, a pivoter. You're going to pivot like that, instantly on the spot. Whether you think you can do it or not, I'm here to tell you you can do it. And pivoting is an essential skill. I'd say maybe the core skill of being a DM. Because anytime you have a human interacting with other humans, things are going to get weird, right? It's going to go completely unpredictably. I can't tell you how many sessions where I was 100% guaranteed in my mind that I was going to go one direction. And it went completely the opposite direction. I thought there's just no way they're going to do anything else other than this one thing I need them to do. But then they go do this thing. And it happens all the time. It happens at every single game, probably every single session. So what do? We pivot. So what does that pivoting mean? It can mean a lot of different things. Let's say you needed to get those quest details from this NPC and they killed that NPC. Well, you just quickly on the spot, you assign those quest details to a new NPC that you've created, an underling of that first NPC that they killed. That's been waiting. That one's actually no good. He looked like he would be the most amazing or information giver ever, but he wasn't. Instead, his star pupil, this girl, is the real NPC that they need to talk to with the real information. And you do what you need to so that she can come up to the party and make sure that she can give the information without hopefully being killed. So what else can you do? Well, after your party has killed this crazy, epic, amazing NPC, and they start rifling through his body as they are wont to do, they find that slip of paper with the information that you wanted them to have. Boom, there you go. You pivoted like that, instantly, on the spot. No problem. What else? Well, there's always the other NPC that happens to have the information. Whatever it is, you create it off the top of your head. You have to pivot to something else. You need to make sure they get that information. That not NPC is dead, fine. We make another NPC, no problem. Same thing can happen with encounters. I've certainly had this several times where I thought, okay, they're definitely going to make choice A and they're going to go here. So I've got this whole map built out, all my terrain and minis and monsters and all this stuff and my stat blocks for my homebrew monsters and everything. Oh boy, can't wait. They're going to go that way. Well, what do? Do you just throw this away? No, you do not throw that away. You just wait. And now it's not here on your map. Just quickly erase that. And it's like, no, it's over here because they're going that direction now. Boom, I'm going to drop this in your path. And now you're going to do that encounter. They don't know that I didn't plan for it to be over there. It doesn't matter. You're pivoting. And I think the hardest thing about pivoting, again, everybody out there, every DM watching this right now has the ability to pivot instantly. I've talked to so many DMs that say, oh, I'm really not good with this impromptu improv stuff. I really can't do it. And guaranteed, not true. It's a confidence thing, but every human has the ability to do this. So I had this specific question on our Discord channel asking about what do you do when that NPC is killed? Do you pivot immediately? Do you wait and give that information later? Do you have things ready-made as backups? I personally don't have backups. I just don't have that kind of time to make redundancies of my NPCs or encounters or any of these things. And so, like I said before, you, to some degree, really need to trust yourself. And I think sometimes the answer really, it depends, right? So it depends on the moment. It depends on where the players are at, where the story's at. You can easily create a new NPC or a spin-off NPC, somebody who's been hunting that person, happens to have the information that you wanted, a pupil of that person, a spouse of that person, a child of that person that you needed, the boss of that person, who knows, a comrade in arms, a fellow monster that tries to get away that you managed to maybe keep that one alive or is injured so it can't fight. So they would have to just literally brutally murder this other monster or person or let them talk. I think whatever you come up with, just do it, come up with it on the spot. Or if you deem in that moment that, actually the party might wait for this information a little bit, maybe that's the right thing to do, and let them suffer the consequences of their choices. That's always something that I feel is a fun part of D&D, the good and the bad. You're making choices. They are making choices as players, and that's great. That's what this game is. This game is all imaginary, but it allows the players to make the choices. There's not a programmer sitting in there saying, you get one of 4 choices because that's all we can program. No, it's infinite choices, but choices have consequences. So I feel like we're starting to get off. That should be like another episode, right? Choices have consequences. Choices, I like that. But in this realm of pivoting, feel it out. See how the moment, what it needs. Does it need an immediate? Do you really need this information, or the campaign really can't go on? Well, then pivot immediately and have one of those things that I said before, some other way, or it's information on the body, or it's information in the room, or whatever. Just pivot immediately and give it to them. If it can wait, then maybe have a consequence of that action and then find a different way to deliver this information. The world is your oyster. And you, my friend out there, you're a much better DM than you think. So trust in your creative process. Trust in yourself in the moment to come up with something fabulous, because it will be. I guarantee it. So what is pivoting? What's the note behind the note of pivoting? We understand what the concept is. I'm sure you understand what the concept is, but why is it important, and why is it maybe difficult for some people? I think the big thing is it means that we can't be as precious to the way that we wanted something to unfold. And I am definitely guilty of this. I'm guilty of it in my screenwriting or any of my other creative pursuits where I have something and I know it, I just love it. I love it so much. I know it's so good. And I'm so not wanting to change it. And yet when I do change it, it gets better. And almost every time gets better. And the same thing happens for DMs. Pivot that encounter, pivot that NPC, pivot the entire lore of your campaign. I've actually done that on the show. I thought for sure, I'm like, oh, well, this is the whole kind of structure of the story. But something happened that I didn't even think of, that the players started reacting to, and I thought, you know what, that's actually, if I do this, this, and this, that's actually better than what I had, so I'm going to pivot to go that direction. But it really comes down to not being so precious with our choices, right? Which I know is so hard. We're in this role, we're trying to lead everybody through these stories and have a great time while doing it, and we just want to see all of our hard work pay off, right? And see these creations that we have birthed before we sit down with these players. We want to see that payoff, but sometimes we don't get it. Well, it's okay. Just take a breath and make a note and pivot and change it in the moment, or change it to something else, or store it for later. Your players will have a great time. They won't notice. They'll get the information they need. You can have a great time as well, and kind of just sit back and enjoy the game. So that's it. I felt this was a short but very needed concept to talk about tonight. Let me know your thoughts. How do you pivot in your games, and where are your challenges? Tell me in the comments and let's talk about it. In the meantime, don't forget to catch our show. We're at The Role Players on Twitch. You can find all the information down below. And we'd love to see you on the show. We'd love to see you in our community on Discord. And if you're looking for ways to support The Role Players, watching this video, hitting subscribe to our YouTube channel, hitting like on these videos and on our show episodes it means so much. We also have a Patreon which allows us to do things like improve our equipment and get webcams and new microphones and things like that. So, we do this for the love of the game, the love of the community that we are growing daily, and we are so happy and lucky to have such amazing people around us. So thank you all for your support and your love, and we'll see you at our game, and we'll see you next week on the streaming DM. Bye, everyone.